First and foremost, welcome to the weekly outlook. Definitely appreciate all of y'all for tuning in to this call. It's a call I like to do on Sundays just to make sure you adequately prepared. Because if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, right? So, with that being said, we got some good news just to start, the session. Obviously, my Trade Genius family, we took sales um Friday up here, right? And some of y'all partialed out, closed out because y'all ain't want to hold over the weekend. But anybody that held over the weekend, you see exactly where the market is right now, right? Remember, if price, like I drew this over here, right? If price pushes higher into the supply zone, I can see it rejecting from the higher time frame hezi, then targeting weak low internal range liquidity at 25,301.5. All right, before potentially looking for more buys. So if y'all don't know, this black line right here, that is 25,301.5. All right, so this actually hit perfectly to a T. That was another one of them bangers, right? And I mean, we've been catching a lot of trades like this lately. I don't know, man. Like it's just, we definitely in rhythm and in harmony with the markets right now. And definitely grateful, right? Definitely grateful just for, to have the mental clarity to be able to see what we need to see. And why is it that we took this trade in the first place, right? Do a quick little hindsight and then, we'll get into where we think the market's going to go from here. And primarily, it's the hezi crossover, y'all. Like y'all know by now. I mean, it's the same thing day in and day out. It's either an ace entry or it's a hezi crossover. It doesn't change, right? It's literally the same principle every single day. If we just go through our simple steps, right? Strong high, hesitation off of demand. The hesitation creates weak highs. So I mark up my internal range liquidity. So this is our hesitation off of demand. Our crossover is the break of structure, right? That makes new lows. All right. The moment this happens, I know for certain that I can get in like right here, right? Bare minimum. Like if you don't care about having the perfect entry, you could literally just set a pending order right here on top of this high and you'll make money, right? Now, if you want to get more precise entries, obviously you can time it the way that we do, when we're trading live, right? It's easier to time an entry perfectly when you're trading live than it is to, predetermine a signal like hours and hours in advance. But either way, you're gonna make money if you just utilize the hezi crossover. Only thing trading live does is give us better risk to awards where it's like a 1 to 10 or something like that. I definitely banged at least a solid 1 to 10 on this trade. I literally just closed like 90% of the trade just now. So if it continues to drop, I'll make a little more, but I'm pretty satisfied with what I got right here, right? So when the market pushes up into the supply zone, we know exactly what it is that we're looking for, right? And I told y'all last week, what did I tell y'all last week? I told y'all this was a trap. I told y'all this was a trap. Do not get sucked into it, right? And here's the thing, it don't always happen when you want it to, right? It don't always happen the moment you think, but if you're just patient, it's gonna come to you. I told y'all this was a trap. Now, mind you, you could definitely get, some money trading a trap, but it's important to know, whether or not your target is gonna get hit or not. And a trap will always provide some sort of reaction, right? Because that's how it validates the trap. It's not really a trap if there's no reaction. The more it reacts and the more it drops, all right, the more people are going to start taking the sales. So they have to give you this reaction in order to create more liquidity up here, all right? Because remember, the more liquidity that is created above these highs, okay, the more likely it is that we're going to get the trade that we actually want. So realize that this trap was 100% necessary, all right, in order for the real move to take place up here from the sell. And this is where the market currently is. If y'all guys don't see this little candle, because the market had a big gap, that means the market dropped this entire space right here over the weekend, okay? So the market gapped down, and this was clearly the real move. And all of this was just a false internal move, right? And again, I say this every call that I do, so I'm gonna just save my breath with my drawing. I usually make my little put my artwork in here. I'm not gonna do all that today. All right. In order to save time, here's what I'll do. All right, let's see if I can uh okay, hold on. Let me see. Um
I think you should. Is it already thought up? I think you should do it how we been doing it. Do you got chicken thought up?
you saying something?
Oh my bad, bro.
Oh, okay. Let me go on mute everybody real quick. But nah, this trade went dummy though. But like I was saying, this first drop had to happen in order to make this real sell more attractive. Because understand that more people that start selling and they put their stop loss right here, right? The market got to knock those people out first. Okay? Because everybody can't win. And trading, 90% of people gonna lose, only 10% of people gonna win. So what they do is they make you take trades prematurely, all right. And as you start trading early, now your money is at risk. Your money is in the market. Your money is actively being traded. So now it's fresh meat on the table. You know what I'm saying? So the more people they get to start trading in this area, all right, or even up here in this area, the more money starts being generated in this supply zone for the market to shoot up one more time and then drop. And this is why, all right, I even told y'all right here. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at?
Group chat been active.
Wherever it's at, right? I just told everybody to hop in, right? Now I can't find where I said it, but y'all know. Trade
It's down.
Genius, give him
It's
a check.
down. It's
He
down.
definitely
Scroll
see.
down. Scroll down.
What a great start to a Sunday. Market open was fire.
That's what we like, man. That's what we like.
Right there. Boom. Go up. Right there. Right there.
Oh, okay,
Five
where?
shorts.
Okay, bet. So yeah, 10:22 Friday, right? We all hopped in this thing, and that was literally right here. You see 1020 candle is like right here, all right? So that's textbook, right? And not only did we get the perfect setup, I want you to understand targets, right? Because targets are very important to, not only just getting in the trade, like everybody focus on the entry, but the target is super important. Here's why. Because now we got weak lows right here, right? Now, why is this a weak low? It's because we have this W pattern, all right? You see this W pattern that creates weak lows, right? So we got a low right here. The second dip of the second low, right, is higher than the first. So whenever you got something like this, underneath where you get into a trade, let's say I got in a trade right here and I see these weak lows right here, I know the target is going to go past this level. So now I know I can hold my trade past this level. You see what I'm saying? So this is how you got to you got to put all the pieces together. It's not just let me get in a trade and hope that the market goes down, right? You got to be able to identify these future targets and say, okay, yeah, this is a weak low. That would make sense for the market to come here. We got this trend line right here. So it would make sense for the market to take this out too. And then we go target this gap right here, this imbalance that we have. It only makes sense, which is why I said this right here. All right. So all of this stuff is predetermined, right? All of this stuff is planned out. Again, I never show y'all trades that I don't take. I rather just, you know, forward test something, or like I'm never just gonna go back and be like, oh, this is what the market gonna do. Like these are always, always, always live examples, day in, day out. So, that was a beautiful trade. So now what I see happening is I wouldn't be surprised to see us moving forward. Only thing that wouldn't have us move higher, honestly, is America being in shambles right now, right? Like, I'll be real, y'all. Don't judge me, but like I was optimistic just because I wasn't trying to be terrified. Like, everybody was just like, oh my God, if Trump wins, it's gonna be the end of the world. I was like, like let's not jump to the worst case scenario. You know what I mean? Let's not, I'm not here to make this a political call. We here to trade, but god damn, like I mean shit, it's bad out here, bro. So it's like we don't really know what the market's gonna do, if we're being completely honest. From a technical perspective, I do feel like we'll go bullish just off the simple fact that we do have a strong low right here. We got equal lows here. We came and purged them. So now we got a strong low pattern. All right. This one is not a W. It's a little bit different. This one kind of looks like this. All right. This one looks like this. So you got a rejection, you got a second rejection, and then the market does that, and then it takes off, right? So you see the build up, okay? See the build up right here. Remember, every time the market reacts, the market starts going bullish, and then we purge and push down. All right. Give me 1 second. My fault. Daughter was banging on the door. So we got two reactions here that generated liquidity. Then we got that third push that took liquidity, and now this is a strong low. Now we see the market start pushing up. All right. Not only is this a strong low, if we just zoom out and look to the left, you see that that strong low was created, right? This strong low right here was created perfectly. Look how beautiful this is, right? Perfectly inside of a heavy crossover, right? So look at this. Look to the left, all right? So we got a strong low right here. Y'all see this one? This strong low looks like this. Okay. Then the market hesitates and then crosses over right here, right? So we see the market hesitate off of supply right here. Then it crosses over bullish. Okay. So we got a strong low, hezzy crossover. When this happens, you can get in underneath this area. Okay. Underneath the hezzy. That's why I got internal range liquidity marked off right here. So then the market does all this stuff, then it comes back, and then it gives me that another strong low that I just marked up over there. So it's just strong low matching up with strong low. It's strong low matching up with heavy crossover, internal range liquidity. So like you see this stair step pattern where the market respects. It leaves this little hezzy behind, and it knows it's going to come back to it eventually perfectly. And this is how you know what type of market you're in. A lot of people, something like, okay, is the market going to buy from here, or is it going to buy from here? Is it going to buy from here? All you got to do is look left to get right. If you look left and you're not, and you haven't tapped into your hezzy crossover yet, you can bank on the market keep going in that direction. This is why I kept buying, all right, until we reached our hezzy crossover right here. And now the market's going to drop. So now why am I looking for a buy? Okay, because again, we got a imbalance right here. The market hesitates, creates weak lows. All right, so we got weak lows forming right here. We just took out those weak lows and ran into this imbalance right here. All right. So now that we just ran into this imbalance, what I could see is the market starting to accumulate because it rarely just taps one time and takes off, right? The market ain't been open 20 minutes. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about the market taking off right this second, right? If I was y'all, I'd be like more waiting for the market to come down again, right? So expect it to push up, okay, in order to get early buyers. Like we always say, it's probably going to push up to sucker in early buyers like it always does. Same thing it did on the sell side, right? So market will probably push up and then come back for that low, okay? And then we'll get that push to the upside. All right. So don't rush this. This ain't got to happen right now. We still got a lot of space. Look how big this zone is in green. So we still got a lot of real estate we can fill in. So when we got all of this space right here to fill in, the market don't just have to barely tap it. It'll tap it, give a reaction, then it'll come deeper into it. Same way it did here, right? It barely tapped into it. It gave a reaction, but then it pushed higher into that zone before it gave the real move. So you can anticipate the same thing happening here. This small tap will give you a reaction. It's going to make a lot of people start chasing it. But remember, when people start chasing, they start buying. And when they start buying, money starts getting built up underneath stop losses. All right. So once all of the early traders get stopped out, that's when we'll start to look to take our buys on Nas. All right. So look for this price pattern on Nas. I feel like that'll be something that, plays out. I would be looking for this exact price pattern on Nas. Wait for this low to get grabbed. Once that low gets snatched, look to start getting in this area. Everybody's price charts might be a little different just depending on the broker you use. So if I was you, I would just mark this up on your charts, but specifically on the Pepperstone broker, right? Not even broker, but just the chart on TradingView, I'd be looking to get in at 25, 250 and below. Okay. 25, 250 and below. So nice round solid number. 25, 250 and below. Then we're gonna look to take longs and get into our buying opportunities. All right. Let me go ahead and check chat real quick. Um, okay, bet. Making sure I ain't missing nothing. So yeah, let this accumulate a little more. Devin, I already know you in buys, but I mean you scalp anyway, so do what you do. But in terms of the swing that's gonna probably make new highs, you probably got a little longer for that, right? Now, if you just want to catch these little moves in between, do what you do. But if you want to catch the swing to where you can get in and just hold it to new highs, then you probably want to wait on that one. All right. You're rarely too late when it comes to the real move. And so yeah, that's that. Gold just smashed 5,000, right? Congrats to gold. Um, I mean, this is nothing but a sign that the economy is going to shit. And not even just the economy, but more so the political world, right? Like I said, this ain't a political call, but it is important because what this is saying is that people don't have faith in US policies right now, right? This is not even price patterns. Like if we being honest, like we just look at gold on, a weekly chart, this is unprecedented bullish behavior, right? This is type bullish behavior we ain't never witnessed before. Really in any asset class, like even Bitcoin, like Bitcoin in the early days, I remember back when I was in college, you can just buy Bitcoin at any level, any area, and you was gonna make money because it was so bullish. But even those periods tend to cool off a little bit. Gold has been bullish since October 7th of 2023, right? Like that was the day. And I remember this day because this was when um Israel and Hamas and all of that started going down, right? I remember it because I called the buyout. It was right here, right? I literally called the buyout, but I wasn't really aware of what was about to happen, right? I wasn't aware that this was going to be the start of a bullish rally like we never seen. Now, obviously, gold has been bullish, right? But not exponentially like this, right? It's just on a straight line to the moon right now. And I don't think it's over yet because the dollar can drop a lot further. And if you notice, even in the political world, Doge is non-existent anymore. A year ago, Doge was the talk where it's like, we gonna cut spending, we gonna do this, we gonna do that. Now nobody talks about it because they know that this is a runaway freight train that can't be stopped, right? It can't be stopped. The only thing you can do is rewrite, the financial monetary system. That's the only thing you could do. So we're about to move a lot towards, tokenization, different assets, stable coins, stuff like that. That's the future, right? So I see gold continuing bullish at least for another couple years. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't think that this is a one time or just a seasonal thing. I think that this is the shift of the entire financial system. And I've been talking about this. You could even go back on some of the older weekly outlooks. I've been talking about this since last year, like around summertime. Just doing my own research. You see the Genius Act get passed in Congress. All of this stuff is happening for a reason. It's not very loud because this is like, generational wealth being created. So it's not something that is in all the headlines, but it is probably some of the most important information. The only thing you're hearing about is, ICE raids and immigration in Greenland and all this other stuff. But, this is probably the thing that can actually impact your lives financially, right? The other stuff is just going to get you, emotionally riled up. But this is the information that'll actually, you can do something with it, right? So realize that gold is not gonna stop. All right. I would look for personally and understand the technicals have changed dramatically when trading gold, right? We used to look for steep retracements and stuff like that. Now I don't look for steep retracements on gold. I'm gonna be honest. Any retracement is a good retracement on gold, and you should probably take your chances on getting in a buy, right? If I had to try to, use my strategy and my technique right now, I would say this right here would be a strong low. We have a hesitation. We push up above, make a new high, and then we push down to clear out the low of that hesitation. You see that? Okay. This is the low of the hesitation. We make a new high. This wick comes and takes that low. So that looks balanced to me. And now the market is just trending back up. If we come and close this gap, I'd be looking for buys if I was you. Okay. So once we come and close this gap, hopefully we close it. We close that gap, I believe you should buy. Okay. I believe you should buy 100%. And again, everything is about risk to reward. All right. Chances are you're gonna keep going up. And that's just what it is. Anytime you get a healthy retracement, go ahead and buy it. That's why I bought this. I closed it out for 1,500 pips. I should have kept holding this to at least 5,000, but I don't like holding trades that long, to be quite honest. But even here, right? Retracement, you take out some internal structure. Cool. Find a reason to get in. You have to find a reason to get in on this runaway train, right? You push down, you run into something over here to the left, go ahead and buy it, bro. Like, you can't even use your old school technicals with this no more because what's happening is unprecedented. It's never happened before. So, enjoy. You probably got like 2 more years or so until everything moves over. But yeah, I feel like fiat currency, all of this stuff's about to disappear. And this is just the signs of it right here. Same thing with silver, right? Silver, I think silver's grown over 60% this year already. Mind you, we in the third week of the year or so, right? So it's crazy what's going on right now. Like we ain't, like I said, we never seen nothing like this before. So um you see silver just broke 100 in New Year's. It was, where was it at? So January 1st, I mean, it's around $70. So you know, like you see what's going on. You see what's going on. That's literally a 50% increase. Okay. 50% increase just in 3 weeks. You can get rich, man. You can definitely get rich. You gotta be careful trading silver though. Silver make US 30 look like AUD USD. Silver is hella volatile. Silver, like, if you ain't got your money right, don't even mess with silver. Or, put a little money in an account that you comfortable losing. But like, I mean the whole account. You gotta be comfortable losing the whole thing. Don't put no big money in the silver. You don't need a lot. You just gotta try to catch the run. You know what I'm saying? Like you catch it, you can make $1,000 on a penny lot. You know what I mean? It don't take a lot. So, that's that. We'll take a couple look at these currencies, keep it pushing. But GU, EU is probably just gonna keep flying just because the DXY is dying. So again, this is another thing that's take into consideration if you trade currencies. All right. This month is the most bullish month of all time. Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. And like I say, it's gonna keep I feel like it's gonna keep up. Like it's gonna keep like this for the next, like I said, I ain't gonna lie. I don't think it's gonna stop for a year, at least another year. Um, you might have those slight periods where the market slow down a little bit, but this is the end of the dollar. And you gotta, I don't know if y'all like study certain things like Ray Dalio, for example. He's a genius, by the way. Y'all should definitely check him out. Um, I'll show you some videos that you guys can watch, right? But he talks a lot about this. Let's see. What's it called? Changing World. Okay. But like, yo, I'm telling you, if y'all watch this, you will understand exactly what's happening in America, right? And like it's crazy kind of how accurate he is because he first started doing these things like years ago before shit hit the fan. And like he's extremely accurate because he studies, history, right? So you got the Dutch Empire, the English Empire, US Empire, and like China is hot on our ass
I
right now.
studied the 10 most
And
powerful
it's
empires of the
important to
last
understand this type
500
of stuff.
years and the last 3 reserve currencies. It took me through the rise and decline of the Dutch Empire and the guilder, the British Empire and the pound, the rise and early decline in the United States Empire and the dollar, and the decline and rise of the Chinese Empire and its currencies, as well as the rise and decline of the Spanish, German, French, Indian, Japanese, Russian, and Ottoman empires, along with their significant conflicts, as measured in this chart. To understand China's patterns better, I also studied the rise and fall of Chinese dynasties and their.
So whenever you get a chance, go ahead and get to that. But what he talks about is all the telltale signs that empires, pretty much dying. Right. So it's like you can't be more in the past. You got to position yourself. We had our run, man. 300 years. That's about what every dynasty.
All right, y'all. We're just gonna give it a second. I think Ray. I think his computer may have either updated or reset. So, but in the meantime, for those who are a part of Trade Genius, can y'all do me a favor and let me know who all held Nas left over the weekend? Drop the money bag in the chat if you held Nas over the weekend. Nas was crazy.
All right, I'm back. I'm back. Appreciate you, P. You always got my back when my laptop start bugging, man. I don't know. I don't know what be going on, bro. I don't know if it's like a short in my wire, but it's like the battery will drain all the way down before it want to charge again. So I'm like, I don't know why I be doing that, but we all good. We all good. I don't know what the last thing is y'all heard. Um, but long story short, I'm just trying to give y'all a little context as to why the markets are moving the way they're moving. And it's because we in the last days of at least America being lit. I'm not gonna lie, I'm already looking at property in other countries. Dubai is sticking out to me because it's just a lot of winners there. It's very safe. Traders paradise. Right? I could trade London and New York session during the day. I don't have to pick one or the other. And it's just where a lot of money is flowing right now. Um, looking at every option on the table, and that's one thing you gotta be willing to do. Your flexibility in terms of where you call home is gonna be very important in the years up and coming because you don't want to lose it all because you're, committed to living somewhere. So if I was you, I'd be so focused on getting rich in the next 24 months that you can literally uplift and move your whole family if you got to. Because that's going to be the main thing that keeps a lot of y'all here is probably family and stuff like that. So I'm of the mindset of like everybody comes, you know what I mean? It's like cool. Let me make $100 million and I'll bring everybody. That's how I'm looking at it. So everybody wins. But I don't think y'all want to be here for this. Like it ain't. I don't see it getting better. And you got to think we got 3 more years of this, bro. Like at least, at least. And like I said, I was a little more optimistic than I was now, just because I'm an optimistic guy. I like to see. I like to anticipate good happening regardless of the situation, regardless of who's at the head of the office, regardless of all that stuff. But one thing I can tell you, just, studying the way that I do, 3 more years of the way we moving, it's not gonna be good. Like, I'm just letting y'all know. So you know what to do. Gold's gonna be bullish for another 2 years, probably, at least. Right? At least like a year and a half. Bitcoin may step in, but Bitcoin, and we can take a look at Bitcoin too, because I only trade a few things. So I can fill up this call with other stuff. You know what I'm saying? But let's take a look at Bitcoin because I haven't traded or talked about Bitcoin in a few weeks. One thing I can tell you about Bitcoin is price pattern wise, it's not looking good, right? I was very optimistic about this level holding when it first got hit off the simple fact that we had a strong low hezzy crossover, right? But now that we've been here for a while, right? One of the things I pay attention to when it comes to these hezzy crossovers is how long does it take for the market to move? I believe that if you're in the market at the right place, it should not take very long to move. This is why our take profits get hit very fast, right? So the fact that the market is going sideways like this, it's ranging, and then it cleared the highs of the range, cleared this little high over here to the left, right? This is a bearish continuation price pattern for sure. Like that's a bearish continuation price pattern. This low stands no chance. All right. This low stands no chance. We're gonna destroy this low, and we'll probably destroy this low too, considering that, this hezzy crossover don't look like it's gonna hold up. So now where do we go from here? We go sub 70, right? We're gonna go beneath 70,000. Okay, probably into the mid sixes. Okay, now if the market can hold its ground in this area, you got a strong low here. You got somewhat of a strong low here. Not much, but if the market can hold its ground in this area, this will be the next area that I'm looking at. That's 60 to 65. But I definitely got Bitcoin dropping some more. And that's the thing. That's another reason why I'm like, gold is the hot asset right now, gold and silver. And until Bitcoin is ready to make its move, which I'm not sure it is, you know, I don't know. Like I ain't gonna lie, I put a lot of my crypto into USD T into Tether just so it kind of stays still. Cause I ain't gonna like, bro, I was losing four figures a day in this drop. You know what I mean? It just stabilized around here because the market started consolidating. And then I took like 70% of my coins out and put it in the Tether like when we was up here, right? When this first bounce failed, because if y'all remember, I gave y'all this one. I thought the market would bounce from here. This is when I was still real optimistic. Once we broke this low and we popped back up a little bit at like 100K, I got rid of all my Bitcoin, like 70% of it at least. Put it in the Tether because I was just tired of losing. I was losing money every day. So now, just seeing this price pattern, that's definitely a bearish correction. We're gonna knock out that low. All right. So I anticipate all the money that people are dumping the USD is going into gold and silver, right? Silver gonna probably go to at least 250. Gold gonna go to probably 10,000. Okay. By the time that happens, then we'll probably start seeing more interest in cryptocurrency. And but until then, bro, I'm gonna be honest, like it ain't been pretty. It ain't been pretty. Obviously, buy low, sell high. It's good buying opportunities, but it's not good money making opportunities right at this moment. So if you got to really be in for the long run if you buying right now. You know what I mean? We've been waiting on XRP to make a move since 2020. It's like all this shit taking a real long time. I feel like you'll do better buying some stocks or something, buying gold, buying a couple ETFs or something, dealing with, energy and stuff like that, rare earth minerals, that type of stuff. And I'm gonna definitely give y'all some stock game too, because I feel like that's where the industry is kind of shifting, stocks, um, crypto as well, but more so, stocks right now are hot. So I'm gonna give y'all some more game on that. But yeah, overall, man, I would say, we buying Nas this week, regardless of what happens to the DXY. You could always assume that the stock market will remain bullish, primarily because the stock market, you know, the more inflation we have, you would think it hurts the stock market, but the more money that they make on paper, the higher the company is valued at, right? So it's like this is why even during recessions and stuff like that, you see the stock market be booming. You know what I mean? It's like people can't afford a house, inflation be high, but the stock market's still booming. Why is that? It's simply because even when the stock market is, or even when the economy is doing bad, the stock market can be doing good. And the problem is the reason why it doesn't help the average American is because the average American doesn't have the amount of capital to make a lot of money in the stock market. So it's like once you get rich, it's easy to get richer. But the problem is, how do you get your first 100,000? How do you get your first million to be able to multiply it in the stock market? Because right now the stock market is kind of just a market that seems to only benefit the rich at this current point in time. Because this ain't the market you're gonna put $100 in and get rich. So you gotta, find a hustle and then dump your money into it, or just, learn how to leverage trade, which is what we do. So that way, you know, the market might only move up 2%, but you can, you know, take a leveraged position and then make a lot more. All right. So that's what I'd be looking for this week. Let's look for Nas to make one more push down, and then we gonna go to the moon. Okay. I'm gonna take a look at a couple currencies real quick just to see if anything pops out at me. Because right now I feel like currencies are just kind of you know. I was looking at this sale last week and I did not take it, but if I did, at least I would have been protected by this. Get in, the market drop. I'd have protected my entry by moving my stop loss down. But now you see the market just flying. Again, this has more to do with dollar correlation as well. That's why all GDPs are flying. Um, you see if we can find anything currency related that may interest us. I've been trading nothing but Nas for real lately, Nas and gold, but it's cool to come back home sometimes, come back to the currencies, see if they still showing us something. I don't see nothing there. G-Chef, strong high, mitigation, new low. Nothing there just yet. Maybe we get a retracement, but until that happens, there's nothing you can do. Whenever I'm just scanning through pairs real quick, y'all, I'm pretty much looking for a market that's either retracing to a point of entry, right? Like that's pretty much it. Like if the market is not retracing to a point of entry or, giving me a re-entry opportunity, it's nothing I can really take, right? So this, for example, we just cleared out lows. I don't really trade GN, but I'm just trying to give y'all something else because GU and EU are out of there. All right, so we just cleared out a low, right? Not only did we just clear out a low, like we also made a strong low. So it's not just about us making a strong low, it's about where are we making a strong low. We made a strong low underneath an old low. So that's a good sign because underneath old lows is where there's liquidity resting, okay? And if there's liquidity right there, we can anticipate a reaction, okay? So not only are we getting a reaction, we got a strong low as well. So that can give me another indication that the market wants to respect this low. And if the market is going to respect this low, only choice it has is to go up. All right. So now where might we want to get in? Market comes up, interacts with supply right here. All right. Then it puts in this low. Okay. Comes up, makes a higher low, then it crosses over. Okay. So now we got this potentially as the hezi. All right. And if the market comes down to this level, it's probably a decent opportunity for us to get in right here, right? Because now we have strong low, hezi, crossover, bullish. All right. Not only do we have a hezi crossover, we have a weak high, right? It's not a strong high. So if the market drops, we'll take out this internal structure, this, and this. Okay. So it's like you want to see the market do this, right? And then before you buy, you want to clear out all this internal structure first. And then you can buy up again. Because every time you knock out internal structure, it's like you're fueling up the tank in order to move again, right? Because liquidity is fuel for the markets. So here's like you're getting some fuel, you're getting some fuel, you're getting some energy. You're getting the energy necessary for this buy to take place. That's the reason why when you have a break of structure, but there's no internal liquidity to fuel it, that's why the market really just keeps going down, right? And this is the difference between a break of structure and a liquidity sweep, right? If there was no internal liquidity right here, I would just be looking for more sales to make a new low, right? So the fact that we do have this point of internal, would definitely be open to taking that, all right? GN is pretty volatile. You have like a 48, 50 pip stop. but your targets will be pretty large, all right? I say probably you probably have a 1 to 10 at least. Market does what it's supposed to do. So I'll send that out as like a free signal. Um, Trade Genius, remind me if I don't send that. I'll make sure y'all get that.
Hey, Ray, can I ask a question? Can you go back to that GN real quick?
Yep.
You say that is a weak high. Is it because of those two huge candles? That's why there's no much liquidity. There's not much fuel, like you put it.
No, it's just a weak high because it's just a singular high, right? Like it just pushes up and it
Oh,
just
okay.
makes that high.
Oh,
Again, a strong high is gonna look like, hold on, my computer moving a little slow. There we go. So it'd be one thing if it did this, right? If it did something like that, then I say, okay, look, maybe that's a strong high. Then I compare it to the strong low and see which one I think is gonna hold. But it doesn't do that. All it does is just pop up and it just reacts, right? And then it does this. So I'm looking at this like this is weak, but this is strong, right? So we took liquidity here, we're creating it here. So if we took liquidity in the lows, that means the low is protected, meaning the market should not go lower than this point. But if we got weak highs up here, that means that that's a target. So when the market gets down to the buy area, it should use this weak high as a target. All right. So this weak high should be a target. This strong low should be protected. So if I know this low shouldn't be broken, I want to get in right here, knowing that it's a good chance that it's not going to go underneath this level, right? But I also got my target here. So I get in here knowing that the market should at least come there, right? So that's the philosophy. Moving to Thailand. Hey, that's dope, bro. I've been thinking I was thinking about Thailand myself, honestly. Just for, the cost of living, but I gotta go out there first. I gotta just see how it is, you know. I gotta see how it is. I'm a businessman, so that's why I prefer Dubai, but I could always put headquarters in Thailand and just travel the world, really. That would probably be a simple, like an easier move because Dubai, I know Dubai can get a little expensive depending on where you live. But if I did Thailand, I could just, move around. But nah, I'm being for real though when I tell y'all that, y'all. Like, I get it, man. America, all we know. But I'm just, the writing is on the wall, man. It's on the wall. Okay, let's see. Euro AUD. Does Euro AUD want to play? So we cleared this low, we cleared this low. Okay, so you got a strong low here. Market hesitates, crosses over bullish. It comes and clears out that hesitation low. See what type of price action we get in here. That's definitely not ready yet. So if I like the area, but I don't like the low, I usually look for an ace entry. All right. So what I do is just go ahead and mark that low off right here. I don't like the size of these candles. That doesn't look like a reversal type volume to me. So we'll probably do something like this. All right. I will look for that right there. All right. I will look for that. Yeah. I don't like those lows. I don't like those lows. You could argue that there's hesitation in the push up, but strong low is the first step. You can't even get to hezi without strong low. So the fact that I don't trust that low, I would say we're gonna push down again, you know, 1.708, probably give us a solid buy on Euro AUD. EU, just kind of hard to trade right now because of the DXY, unfortunately. It's the pair that I'd like to trade, EU and GU. It's what I prefer to trade, but they just look crazy right now. Euro Chef, I'm gonna mess with that. Euro CAD, no Trump threatened to give them 100% tariff again because they've been in talks with China about doing business. And that should just tell you again, like the fact that our border country would prefer to work with a country on the other side of the world rather than its neighbor, that just kind of tells you the type of relationship we have, geopolitically across the world. And the thing that makes America very fragile right now is that our dollar is no longer on the gold standard. Only thing it's backed by is reputation and the military being a threat to countries, right? But what happens now is, people are starting to look at China as better business partners because at least they're good to their word, right? And at least there is some type of benefit to doing business with China. Because if you look at a country like, whether it be Ethiopia, Rwanda, whether it be places like a Ghana, some of the fastest growing economies in the world are in Africa, and there are countries that have done business with China because yes, they'll get their resources, they'll get their, they'll get their cobalt for their, for their electric cars, they'll get rare earth minerals. They'll get all this stuff from China, but at least or from Africa, but at least China is investing into their economy, and this is why you're seeing a rapid development in Africa now versus when America invests into a country. They don't really invest. They just take resources and leave the country dry. Right. So now people are starting to look at China as better business partners in terms of like, we'll give you some natural resources so you can, build your cell phones, build your AI, you can build your cars, but can we get something from it? You know what I mean? And now this is the reason why a lot of people are starting to work with them and look at them as better partners because it's a mutual benefit. It's not just benefiting the United States solely. So when you understand this, it's like all we can do is threaten people with tariffs and military force. But at some point, it's either gonna go to a world war or we just gonna have to accept defeat. That's the only two options. But it's getting to a point now where even after Trump gets out of office, it's going to be hard for countries to do business with us because of the threat of every 4 years, there's a risk that somebody else like him can be elected. So it makes America look bad from the perspective of, for example, we threatening the United Nations for Greenland, right? Threatening to use military force, threatening all of this. And now they're threatening to cut us off completely to where Apple and, all these companies, they can't even sell products there. If that happens, that'll destroy our economy. And it's not something that, is a quick fix with a new president because in our system, we elect somebody new every 4 years. So they're like, it ain't just the fact that, maybe it's a new president. It's like, bro, if half y'all country think this way, what's stopping the next person from doing the same thing? You can get a Democrat in and they undo the shit, and then at the 4 years later, you get another Republican in, and then they do it again. So it's gonna become a situation that is a lot longer than just who the president is at that moment. It's really just um, American political landscape, whether it be democracy or whatever. But it's easier to do business with a country that don't change their mind, or they don't even argue about politics. China don't argue about politics. It's like presidents say what's going to happen and it happens. Dubai or United Emirates, UAE, they don't argue about politics. It's like it's whatever the sheik says goes, period. So you'll realize the fastest growing economies in the world don't have democracy. And that's the problem with democracy, because niggas rather fight each other than to get a solution, right? So that's not conducive to growth, right? It's conducive when the country is in its infancy, because people are trying to develop a country, and it taking other people's thoughts into consideration, and what other people want and stuff. But when it's time to like grow past the infancy stage, which America's like 300 400 years old now. Like democracy actually is starting to work against us, because we can't get nothing accomplished without other people fighting it. You know what I'm saying? So um yeah, it's just different, man. It's just different. Oh yeah, Jules, you've been to Thailand. I gotta pick your brain on that. I gotta pick your brain on that. Babylon is falling. Yeah, Rome, Babylon, all that. It's a wrap. It's a wrap, y'all. So use these markets and get rich. Position yourself to be flexible. And where you lay your head at. Because when it get real, you gotta be able to like up and move. You can't, be a sitting duck and get slaughtered. You know what I mean? Like a lamb, because you can't fend for yourself. So, I think it's real important right now, more so than ever. Like I'm not spending money like dead ass. I had my best year last year, and truth be told, like bro, I cut my own hair. Like I'm very frivolous. Like I'm not a frivolous spender. I'm very frugal, because I know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like I'm nickel and diamond right now. Because like I'm not oblivious to what's going on in the world. So like you don't know how much it's gonna cost to save your family. It should hit the fan. You know what I mean? So that's that. Long story short, like I said, do your research. Get off this call today. Look into like Ray Dalio. Study stuff like this. Even Robert Kiyosaki, like he's super smart when it comes to this stuff too. He was calling all of this years ago, and I wish I would have listened years ago. But like what's happening with gold, silver, and the US dollar, like he called this a long time ago. And you see people, they selling their US treasuries, they getting off the gold, the US dollar as the reserve currency. And that's the only thing keeping America afloat right now. We do not build nothing. We don't create nothing. Like we don't export anything. I want you to really think about that. Everything is made in China. Everything is made other places. So we not big in manufacturing. We not really big in the biggest things we known for is really entertainment and culture and stuff like that. But just from an economic standpoint, bro, we don't really build nothing. So like our economy is being held up by us being the reserve currency. And now that we're not backed by the gold standard ever since, who was it, Nixon, whoever took us off the gold standard, now our dollar is just being held up by reputation. And the more we lose our reputation, or the more our reputation gets damaged, the worse it gets for our currency, because we ain't backed by nothing. So, it's scary times, bro. Like this is real. This is not a drill. You know what I'm saying? So, keep that in mind, yo. Do what you got to do to position yourself next couple years to get right. And yeah, we out of here, man. Peace. But other than that, comments, questions, or concerns, right? Pretty simple call today. We buying Nas when it clears these lows. buying gold when it gives us an opportunity. That's about it, really. But any other comments, questions, concerns before we hop off today? I'm gonna go watch this Rams game, see what happened.
And I do got a question. Like, if you look at Nas, let's say if you go to like the 2 hour, right? Let's like the 2 hour real quick. So I'm about to send this in the chart because I feel like it'll be easier for me to like it's in the chat. Boom. So we kind of have like three hezzies that formed, and two of them have played out. If you zoom out a little bit, I clicked this. When I sent it in the chat. I got all three of them circled in the chat, right? But if you notice, like from going from right to left, right, you got the small hezzy ball. It hesitated, crossed over. It came down into internal range liquidity. Went up, but we didn't really like clear the top of the range. And then now we're tapping into the second hezzy, and we haven't. I mean, we got a good reaction from the internal range liquidity, but we haven't really cleared out the top of the range as well. And I wanted to know your input on this last hezzy that's formed. And because like the last hezzy that's formed, you see at the top we have those relatively equal highs from on the top of the range. I was wondering if like, do you like just what's your thought on price potentially coming down and to take out that internal range liquidity on like that the much on the larger hezzy, what I'm saying, to be like the ultimate swing to the upside.
I mean, shit, if that happens, it's just a better buy. But I mean, I'm not I'm not gonna wait for that to happen. That's the reason I'm looking for buys. So it's like if that happens, then so be it. But just the way that I trade on a lower time frame, I kind of look at more what's in front of me when it comes to trading Nas. Nas rarely completes larger time frame patterns anymore because it's so bullish in nature. Like indices in general are so bullish. It's like marking up a higher time frame low on gold and waiting for it to hit, knowing that it'll probably never happen because of the just how the markets move on a macro scale. So I see what you're saying in terms of how you marked it up. But when it comes to Nas, I'm really just looking within the past few days, maybe a week back. Yeah, if the market drops into a higher time frame area that happened weeks ago, then so be it. Great. That's just an extra confirmation. But I'm not really, relying on it to happen because Nas being bullish 85, 90% of the time, if you just look back through history, it's like there's going to be several areas of demand that don't get tapped into. That's just gonna happen. Like that's just is what it is. It's like I said, it's just like gold. Gold is gonna leave areas of demand and never come back and visit them again. That just happens more often on these types of assets than something like a currency. Like currencies are more likely to give you the steep retracement and full mitigation than something like Nas, where if it's moving, it's moving, and you got to find your entries and your continuations. You know what I mean? So, I see what you see, but if that happens, then great. But I'm not really, you know, gonna pass on the buy waiting on that to happen. Now, if I take a L on the buy, that's one thing. If I take a L on the buy that I'm looking for this week and the market just keep dropping, it's like, okay, bet. Where else can I look for a potential buy? And then your setup will come into play. But until that happens, I'm gonna just trade what's in front of me. Nas is a lot more accurate with recent price action, in my opinion.
I appreciate you.
So, but yeah, family, that's pretty much all I got though. I think it's going to be a real simple week in terms of what we're looking for. Still looking to have a great week, a big week, but very simple, right? I'm not really looking for nothing too complex. Um, just looking for my opportunities when they come to me. All right. So look, if you guys received any value, from this call, definitely, give your boy a follow, man. Wallstreet_Ray. That'd be much, much appreciated. If you guys need any information on Trade Genius, right? Like I said, I don't like to do too much self-promotion, but if you guys would like information on Trade Genius specifically, feel free to send me a message here. I'll get you guys locked in. And I'll be honest, somebody told me I was undercharging. So I mean, I might just listen to them. You know what I mean? I might just listen to them. So, hit me up sooner than later. I'll get you plugged in. And we'll run it up. But we trade live, give signals. You got a course with 40 hours of content, all that good stuff to help you level up. And I'm here to help everybody get to where they want to be on the charts. All right. But other than that, man, I had a fun call with y'all. We talked, we covered a lot, and gave y'all some things to think about. So, let's have a great week, man. Let's control what we can control and keep growing and getting to that next level. All right. But before I dip, any other questions? Any other questions, comments, concerns? Are we all good? Appreciate you, Divine. I'll give you a follow back. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Any other questions? We all good? All right. All right. Well, look, I appreciate you guys. Much love. And I'll see you guys on the next call next week. If y'all in the other chats, but if you're in Trade Genius, I will see you guys for New York session. Much love and peace.
Test. Hey, a real quick question, bro. Did you say we were selling euro? Or you say you were buying, just looking for buying opportunities?
Euro,
Yeah,
I'm definitely not selling it. Euro what?
euro USD.
Oh no. I ain't really got a setup for that, to be honest. It's just flying up. It ain't really nothing for me to go off of right now. So I don't really have a setup on Euro USD right now. They gotta give me a little more. They gotta give me something to go off of. I ain't got much price action to go off of right now.
What you think about that all the way to the left? All the way to the left. We jump to the. Let's see. It's a little easier to see on the 2 hour or 4 hour for sure.
This here. I mean, if it was gonna give a reaction from anywhere, it'd probably be that. But even still, let's just say I mark this off. Even still, it's not enough for me to sell. I need some sort of consolidation first. Like the market need to range and give me something to manipulate first. Like I'm not just gonna sell because it's been pushing up. I needed to actually create some sort of consolidation and then I'll take the manipulation. Like that's the only time I'll take a trade that's flying up. Like the same way I took Nas, I had proof of consolidation first. So then when the market pushed up, it gave me the confidence to sell it. I don't like not your USD is just flying up in a straight line. I can't really sell that just because it went into a supply zone. It's about the price action that's creating before we enter the supply zone that makes it a lot more trustworthy. I don't trust the market that's just flying up without any type of resistance. Um, so yeah, I'm not really touching euro right now, but we'll see what happens throughout the week. It may develop some price action that I could trust later in the week, but not right now. We all good to go, fam. We all good. We all good. Appreciate y'all for tuning in too. All right, we'll go ahead and end it there. I'll get this uploaded ASAP, and I'll drop the recording when it's done.